በአቢይ ይልማ ሚዲያ ተዘጋጅቶ ይቀርብልዎታል። ሳድስ ሰላምና ጤና ፍቅርን በረከትን ያድልልን። ክብራትና ክብራን የሣድስ ቤተሰቦቻችን እንደምን አላችሁ? እንደምን ስቆያችሁልን? ያላችሁት በሣድስ የሚዲያ ዝግጅታችን ላይ ነው። እንግዲህ ዛሬ በጣም ትልቅ ሰው ይዤላችኋለሁ ለቃለመጠይቅ። የእስራኤል መንግስት የፓርላማ አባል ናቸው። በጣም ብዙ የሥራ ኃላፊነት ያለባቸው በጣም ትልቅ ሴት ናቸው። ወይዘሮ ሻረን ሐስካል ይባላሉ። እንግዲህ እዚሁ አዲስ አበባ አግኝቻቸዋለሁ። የእስራኤልን የፓርላማ አጠቃላይ ባህሪ እንደገና ደግሞ ከኢትዮጵያ ጋር ያለውን ግንኙነት አሁን ያለውን ነባራዊ ፖለቲካና መሰል ጉዳዮች ዓለም አቀፉን ፖለቲካ ሁሉ ሳይቀር ከሳቸው ጋር ቆይታ አድርጌያለሁ። በጣም ቆንጆ ቆይታ እንዲሆንላችሁ ጋብዛችኋለሁ። መልካም ጊዜ እመኛለሁ። I'm very happy to meet you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for hosting me on your show.
Thank you. You know, in our tradition we call Wezero. So I'm called Mrs. Sharon Haskell. I'm very happy to meet you. You are the member of Knesset in Israel Parliament. How long have you been there working as?
So I was elected in 2015. So it's been 9 years that I've been in the Parliament of Israel.
Oh, much time. And which group do you represent?
So when I entered the parliament, I was part of the Likud party, who's headed by Benjamin Netanyahu. Right now, 3 years ago, I've resigned from the Likud and I joined the party of National Right.
Wow.
Headed by Gidon Saar.
Yeah, Gidon Saar.
And I sit in the opposition today.
Yeah. So your family are from Morocco?
My mom's Moroccan.
Yeah.
She was
so you're
born
Moroccan
and raised
Jewish?
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
For many generations, my mom's family was settled in Morocco. And unfortunately, about 50, 60 years ago, they had to flee from Morocco
to Israel.
And they flee to France.
France.
Yeah.
Because
they settled in France, and in France, my mom met my dad.
Oh. Yeah. So you came to Israel?
Yeah. My dad was born in Israel.
Yeah.
We call it a tzabar. And then my parents decided to immigrate to Israel.
Israel. Wow. You see, now in the Knesset and in the Israel's parliament, there could have been some strong positions towards the war on Hamas, as you know, and there is also some differences we can observe, we can see. So in this very moment, how do you describe the Israel's parliament to stand together and to make differences in ideas towards the war Israel is now holding?
Well, look, it is a very difficult time for us. Yeah. Great challenges. We've never been in a situation like that. I mean, the 7th of October massacre is the worst historically event that had happened to the state of Israel. And I think we're all still dealing with that tragedy and that loss. You know, in the Bible, God keeps on saying that our unity is our greatest strength as people, as the people of Israel. But I have to admit that as much as I would want to have unity among Israel right now, there is quite a lot of division as well. There's division inside the parliament and within the Israeli people as well. Yeah. Division on how the war is being managed. Division on how the economy is being managed, and division about, you know, internal social issues that we're dealing with.
But you are also still agreeing on the war? All members? Do you?
Look, this war, we didn't ask for it. Yeah. It was forced on us. Yeah. We wish it would have been the 6th of October and there was no war. But unfortunately, Hamas decided to open a war against our people, to massacre elderly baby, to burn people alive, to rape women, to behead people. And when they decided to declare war like that on Israel, we have to go and defend our people, defend our community, defend our children. And there isn't a more righteous war than this one. This is, matter of fact, our second independence war. They have kidnapped more than 250 people, babies, children, women, elderly, disabled, no matter what. And they were holding them in tunnels, in literally dungeons of Hamas. Yeah. They abused them. They sexually abused them. They physically abused them. They give them barely any food. Just last week, we gathered from there a body of a hostage that was held by the hand of Hamas for 11 months that was executed. And when we recover the body, it was 32 kilos. Okay? So we have family members. Today, there are more than 101 hostages that are being held by Hamas. Still, babies, women, elderly, men. These are brothers and sisters and parents and grandparents. And our mission, our greatest mission, is to bring them back home. Yeah. We want them back home in the arms of their loving family. Unfortunately, Hamas refused to release them. And so we are left with going in and bringing them back, making sure that we destroy Hamas from a military point of view and from a political point of view, so that the Hamas, which is identical to Boko Haram or Al-Shabaab, with the same ideas, the same ideology, will not sit on our border to wait for the next 7th of October massacre.
You see, there could be some, in the outside world, people are really feeling what's bad happened on Israelites on October 7th. And after then, the war declared to turn the hostages back home has got deeper and deeper and deeper. Then the world stands on the differences. Mm-hmm. And then the world wants to, to have some claims on Israel's government. The decision President Netanyahu has got can make an all-out war in the area. People are focusing, and the world is afraid of an all-out war, in the regional war in the area. If that happens, it destabilizes the world. The world is getting fear of that thing. How do you see this?
Let me put it in your perspective.
Yeah.
Try and think and imagine that one day Al-Shabaab cross the border and massacre more than 1,200 people. 1,200 people, babies, burning women, raping little girls, and then kidnapping back to them, 2,000 Ethiopians back as hostages, knowing they're being abused, tortured, starved every single day. What would you do? What would your government do to the Al-Shabaab?
Yeah.
What would they do?
The same thing as Israel
and
does.
If the international community comes to you and tell you, hold, stop, what would you do? Would you just leave those 2,000, and I'm trying to turn to, these are terms in percentage in comparison to the Ethiopian population, okay? We had 1,200 people being murdered on the 7th of October. We are only 9 million people. This is less than the population of Addis Ababa, okay? Yeah. So if I put it in Ethiopian terms, per capita,
be much number.
Okay, 12, at least, I didn't calculate, but at least 12,000 people. 2,000 hostages, okay? These girls that they are holding hostages, these women would be raped almost every single day. So if someone comes from outside and tell you, just leave them there, you know, we will take care of it, just leave the Al-Shabaab, what would you do? How would you act? What if your daughter was there? What would you personally do? Now, the way that we act in Gaza, no army in the world will go to that length to protect civilian population. This is a war that is being conducted in a highly populated city where we give warnings even though they run away. Just today, we were told that Hamas terrorists were disguising themselves in an envoy of cars of the United Nations bringing polio vaccination to the children in Gaza. Hamas went into there and hid themselves in that envoy. Yeah. Okay? You know that the humanitarian aid, try and think that you are bringing thousands of trucks of food and humanitarian aid across the border when you know that Al-Shabaab is holding it, selling it to the population, profiting, gaining money from it. Okay? Look, the international community is putting immense amount of pressure. But the one thing that you can say, the Israeli army is the most moral army that goes by law and by the code that we describe. And our code has a higher moral than any other army in the world. Any person, a military person, who has operated, who have fought in war, that will hear and know what Israel is doing, will say that they would have never gone to that length to protect civilian population. I can promise you that.
And there is recently the news what we have listening to is focusing on the Rafah order, as you see, and the Netanyahu government has already made a decision not to leave the Rafah area before completing the war. Do you think that would end sooner, and do you think that would benefit the war in the area and get the success? Do you feel?
I think we should have been in the Philadelphia crossing more than 6 months ago. I think that we should have gone through a much more major operation to release our hostages much more early. Okay, unfortunately, Netanyahu surrendered to the international pressure that was put on him and held for 5 months any operation in Gaza. I mean, no other prime minister, no other government would have done something like that. He's been criticized. I've been criticizing him for that. And I understand the necessity of Philadelphia. I mean, look, Gaza is bordering Egypt. Yeah. And through that border, they actually smuggle tons of amount of weapons and people. Okay? This is their oxygen area where they collect taxes for goods, smuggle weapons and ammunition, smuggle people as well. Would I take a risk that one of our hostages will be sent across those tunnels underneath the border and then end up maybe in Iran? I won't take that risk. And so I understand the strategy behind it.
Nice. And the war in Gaza now is going to the northern part by Hezbollah. And even in the West Bank now things are going unhappiest. And in Iraq and in Syria, there are also some groups of the proxies of, as Israel called, the head of the snake, Iran. And everything around here is going now a bit stronger than the war before. And do you believe, as a member of the parliament, and we are telling to the millions of Ethiopians now, because we Ethiopians are feeling what's going on in Israel. So, and we have also questions. And when you tell us this, you are telling to millions of Ethiopians that to have clear minds about that area, that thing. And do you think that is not elongated? That's not going too far? Like Iran may be attracted too much to the war, and we are getting afraid of regional war not to be arising. And do you feel something will be going shorter period of time, or it could take, we don't know, but how much time?
Well, I have news for you.
Yeah.
We are at war with Iran. We've been at war with Iran for the last 11 months. You can call it however you want, but fact is that on the 7th of October, that was the first day of the Iran war. Iran has trained and financed Hamas terrorists, okay, helped them plan and execute that terrible massacre. And ever since the 7th of October, they've been attacking Israel through their operative, through their militias, through their army. I mean, Hezbollah is a brigade of the Iranian IRGC, okay? Lebanon is literally, has been colonized by Iran. Iran is controlling Hezbollah. Hezbollah has taken control of Lebanon, from a military point of view, and in the parliament as well, okay? And they've been attacking Israel every single day. They've destroyed community. Metula has been destroyed. Manara has been destroyed. All of our northern part is being attacked every single day. People have been murdered. 12 children were massacred from one of their rockets. And so we are at war with them. Yeah. I think it's a shame that Israel, and look, it's important for me to say, I would prefer a diplomatic solution. I want a diplomatic solution. But unfortunately, Hezbollah and Iran is not interested in one like that. For 11 months, they've been attacking us day and day and night and day. And I think that Israel should have said long time ago that we give them 24 hours to back down. Otherwise, we need to open a front. Yeah. And trust me, I do not want Beirut to turn into Khan Yunis or Rafah. But unfortunately, Hezbollah is leaving us no other choice.
Yeah. That is in that the northern part of Israel, communities are getting to the center. Even the civilians have been brought back to.
We have tens of thousands of refugees from the northern part, okay? Cannot return to their home, cannot gather their clothes, their property. There are refugees in Israel. And we need to bring them back home as quickly as possible and to defend our land and our people and our homes.
Wow. And I'm very happy because there could have been some strong members of the parliament in Israel that to ask wise to the Prime Minister, the Netanyahu's government's decisions and everything. We are very happy to listen to that. And still, we, as in the Horn of Africa, we are living here. Every movement over there is shaking our area too, as you know. Now Ethiopia is in a crisis, in a political crisis towards Egypt, East Africans controlling, coming here and everything is there. Even the war in Gaza is also closer to Egypt, and everything is affecting our politics in here. So let me bring you to Ethiopian and Eastern African and even African-Israel Parliamentary Summit now being held here in Addis Ababa for September 10th and 11th, as you know. So let us bring things together here. How do you feel that the Horn of Africa is helping and is being needed to Israel's war time now at this very moment?
Sorry, how is the Horn of Africa is being worked together?
Together with Israel, and what Israel is expecting the Horn of Africa?
I think and I believe there should have been more cooperation. Look, Israel has a deep connection and bond to Ethiopia. It's not just 150 years of diplomacy and, community gatherings and, different strategic, alliances. But this is thousands of years old of bonds and friendship. We are brothers, we are sisters. Yeah. And in difficult times, we need to know how to stand one next to another. Yeah. And I think there should have been much more cooperation on the security and defense level. Yeah. We have many challenges. Yeah. Some of them are mutual challenges, shared challenges. And I think we should see how we can cooperate better together.
Nice. And how do you feel that Africa and Israel Parliament Summit now here being held in Addis Ababa is helping now the situation in Israel is going on?
I'm really excited about it. I mean, I told you this is, for a few years I haven't been excited like that.
Yeah.
I think it's extremely important. I really think that Africa is the future, and I know that Addis Ababa is a center.
Yeah.
It's a political center, an international center, an economical center, and it's extremely important, this conference, not just to talk and hear different point of views about collaboration, but these are the first step in initiating actions as well. So we talk a lot and we've exchanged numbers, and there's many people who started, finding each other as well. And I think it's a really good start. We need to have more events like that.
We expect, because such an event is also creating huge force coming together. It's a very wonderful thing. And I'm very happy that I have gotten so many parliament members in Africa. Great countries are coming here, and Israel's politics, as I interviewed and get some connections and information from the members of parliament, I just hear that they have got pity heart to what's going on in Israel. And the Bible also tells us just to support at every moment what's going on in Israel. So many Christian lands like Ethiopia are good and very, very pity-hearted to what's going on in Israel. So what do you think that Ethiopian society, Ethiopian Christians and Muslims and everybody is having very huge connection in Israel, and every Ethiopian are going to Israel every year for spiritual travels. And what do you advise and what do you invite in Israel during this wartime? Even at the very, very wartime period, many Ethiopians are traveling to Israel for spiritual purpose. So how do you appreciate and how do you say something on this?
So first of all, this is part of our shared history. Okay? And the bonds and the friendship that we have between us. And I invite every single Ethiopian citizen to come and visit us and see the incredible sights and the freedom of worship that we have in Israel. Experiencing is a completely different, event. This is a life-changing event, and it deeply moves and touches people's hearts. And I think that we need to encourage more of that. And we also need to encourage more tourism of Israelis here in Ethiopia. This is a beautiful and gorgeous country with so many beautiful nature, sites and traditions, and it's magical. And so we need to find a way on doing a better cooperation on that size as well.
I believe. So it's your first time in Ethiopia?
Yeah, it is.
So you haven't visited some places. I think you will have time to.
Yeah, I really hope to go and see a few places. This is a conference and I only have a couple of days. But it definitely leaves, a taste for more. And I think that when my little girls are going to grow up a little bit, I'm going to come with them to see this magical land.
So how many children you have?
3. I have a 3-year-old and twins who are 2 years old.
Wow. Congratulations
for that. It's a little bit difficult at this moment to travel with them.
Yeah.
I need them to grow a little bit, but then I'll definitely come with them to see the incredible country and the people and the warmth and the incredible food that I'm completely in love with. The injera and
everything. Very spicy kind of meal we have.
I mean, we have in Israel a big Ethiopian community, and we have Ethiopian restaurants that I go regularly. But it's different to have it here with all the spices and the freshness, and you know, and you see that people are putting their love in their food, and there's that warmth. It's the same as the Israeli warmth, you know. So it's really nice.
Yeah. Now we are in a new year in Ethiopia. We really celebrate doro wet. It's a kind of spicy red, colored and with pepper in it, and uniquely made chicken, and a very celebrating meal. I want you to try it.
So
you will taste the spicy of it tomorrow, and ask them everywhere. Doro wet. It's a very spicy and
I saw many people with the chickens going back to their homes. But I have to warn you, I'm actually vegetarian. I've been vegetarian since I was 14 years old. So since I was a kid, I became vegetarian. So I didn't want to harm any animals. But I'm absolutely sure it is delicious. And I definitely, I would try the stuffing.
A bit, at least to taste, because it's a holidays meal. We are so excited to have that kind of meal here in Ethiopia. We also have...
And you know what? It's an opportunity for me to also wish you and
Happy
all the
New Year.
Ethiopian a Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And have a prosperous year. And I wish you health and blessing and love and unity here in Ethiopia as well.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoy that time and cherish it with your family during the day.
Thank you. Last, what if I invite you a red meat? It's an Ethiopian meal. And if you don't have any opportunity not to eat anything, you don't have you're a vegetarian, so you don't have any access to have any vegetable. The only thing you have is red meat, as an Ethiopian, precious and very loved kind of meat. How do you manage that? You live it?
You know, in Israel, we have something called Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur, I know.
Yom Kippur is a day of fast, of mourn for our sins, but it's a day also that for more than 24 hours, we don't eat and we don't drink. So it will probably be a day like that for me.
So you enjoy it like Yom Kippur?
Yeah, I will celebrate and will dance and will really try and get as much as I can from the culture and from the atmosphere and everything. But it is inside me since I was a very young girl.
I know.
I just don't want to harm any animals, and I don't want my being here on this planet will somehow harm and hurt any other creature.
I know.
And that's something that I took upon myself.
I know,
I
understand. I'm very happy to hear that. And it has been a great moment. We call Wezero Sharon Haskell, or Mrs. Sharon Haskell, the member of the Knesset of Israel's parliament. I'm very happy to meet you here in Ethiopia.
It's my pleasure.
Last but not least, if you have any advice, information, something left untold, if you have that, you are open, please.
Thank you so much. I just think that our shared history have told us what had happened in the past, and is also telling us what will happen in the future. And it's all written in the Bible, in the book. And it is a book that we are also sharing. And during these times, the book also say that we need to stand tall and to stand beside what's just and what's right. And I think we're coming to a time when people need to make a decision what side they're on. And the world is coming to a point where they're going to have to decide between evil and between good. And when we see all of these radical groups who are bringing violence and hatred and destruction in comparison to what Israel wants to bring to the world, love, the book of God, coexistence, technology to better the life and the welfare of people and of children. I think that these facts actually lay on the table a very easy reality and distinction between evil and good. And people need to make a decision on how our future is going to look. And we need to stand together.
I'm very happy. ቤተሰቦቻችን በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ፕሮግራማችን ስለተከታተላችሁ ወይዘሮ ሻረን ሐስካልን እዚሁ ጋብዤ ቃለመጠይቅ አድርጌላችኋለሁ በጣም የሚገራርሙ ሐሳብ ያላቸው ብስል ያሉ ሰው ናቸው እንደሰማችሁት ለኢትዮጵያ ያላቸው የተለየ ፍቅር ነው የሰማነው እንደገናም ደግሞ ኢትዮጵያም እስራኤልን በጣም የምትወድ ሀገር ናት የእስራኤል ትልቅ የመንግስት ኃላፊነት ያለባቸው ሰው ነው እንግዲህ ያወራውላችሁ እንደወደዳችሁት እርግጠኛ ነኝ ለዚህ በዓል ፕሮግራም ቆንጆ እንግዳ እንዳቀርብኩላችሁ ይሰማኛል እጅግ ወዳችኋለሁ አከብራችኋለሁ Miss Sharon Haskell I'm very happy and thankful and grateful for your moment here and for your time
It is my pleasure and thank you and Danane
welcome በዓል
መልካም በዓል
happy new year
Oh, welcome ban. Happy New Year to all.
Thank you and good time በጣም ወዳችኋለሁ አከብራችኋለሁ ዕውቀት ታላቁ እግዚአብሔርን ታከብራለች
በአቢይ ይልማ ሚዲያ ተዘጋጅቶ ይቀርብልዎታል ሳድስ